Okay, so I got this voicemail through Google. Says he wants to talk to me. Let's give him a call. Oh, wait. That wasn't his number. There we go.
FBI?
Yeah, this is Michael Wilkinson.
Hey, Michael, how's it going, man?
Oh, terrible, man. My life's been a terrible mess.
Okay. Well, I was calling you because I got some information from the courthouse and from the marshal service indicating that you had some frustrations uh, that you might want to discuss, and I wanted to see if I could meet up with you tomorrow at the Rogers Police Department to talk about it.
Well, I don't live in Arkansas.
Where
I
do you
was
live now?
I was basically chased out of Arkansas.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm not in Arkansas anymore. I'm in Colorado. Listen, let me tell you what. Let me tell you what you can do for me. Do you know anything about what I was talking about? Do you have a case file for the incident between the marshals and me?
Well, what I've got is some information, excuse me, from the courthouse, from the marshal service, from their internal affairs, and you have basically created a mess here by
I didn't
issuing some
listen.
things that they
Listen,
listen.
listen, listen. I didn't create a mess.
Listen,
I'll promise you.
there
Listen, I'll promise you. I didn't create a mess. I
there
tried to
are
get
a lot of
disability.
people
Listen,
here who are very worried that you're going to do something to
you
harm
know,
someone.
you know, where did that start? Where did that
Excuse me?
start? Where did that start?
Well, it started for me Friday when I got a phone call telling me that folks at the courthouse and at the marshal service had been threatened.
They've been threatened. Who called and told you that?
The email that you sent and the YouTube videos.
So you think that that threatens courthouses? I mean, listen, listen. Let me explain something to you. I found myself in a courthouse because the government committed fraud. I was forced into there, and I was forced to tell the truth in the federal courthouse. And the moment I told the truth, a button was pushed, and my life, the seconds were ticking away. You've seen the video online. You've seen the marshals sit there and say, if you'd have been there 4 minutes longer, you'd have gone out on your back. Now, let me tell you, sir, on when's the last time you've seen somebody go out on their back for turning in a motion for summary judgment and asking to see some paperwork that collaborates the absence of fraud? I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Why was I in that courtroom to begin with? Do you know that? Do you know why I was in that courthouse?
No, I don't.
Because I have a disability. That means when I say instantly approved for disability, let me
Right.
explain it to you because no one's explained this to you unless you watch the video. But I'm just like the
That's
people that are allergic to the sun. Now hold on, let me ask you this:
okay.
Who was it?
That is your social security case, right?
Listen, yeah, that is my social
Okay.
security case, but
Okay.
but whenever a doctor commits fraud deliberately, I got this. Listen, I've got that Dr. Crow on tape saying that he hasn't been a doctor since 1999. He's worked for Social Security that entire time since then. There's no way he's ever seen my case because he hasn't been a doctor. And I said, well, how come the only fraud in the case is bolded and underlined? Let me ask you this. How come there's missing documents in my federal case?
I have no idea.
That seems kind of suspicious, don't you think? How come? Look, you see the video of me in the ALJ's office trying to report fraud? Have you seen that one?
I saw a video of you at an office talking to a guy and a gal through a plexiglass
No,
window.
no, no, no,
That's the
no.
one you're
There's
talking
another
about?
one. There's another one where I'm in the courtroom and I'm talking to the ALJ. And let me tell you this: I've already won my case well, okay, after I had to leave my house in Arkansas, and then let's just, man, We could get into all of this. I've been proven right, and then I was drugged back into court, and I was proven right. And I mean, I don't know how to tell you how many times someone's got to win their case, but this most recent time you can watch on YouTube video of me in the courtroom and then go check the court case. And ALJ Mussman says that I wasn't even there. I didn't even show up for court. How about this? There's a lady named Ann Donovan. Did you see the video of Ann Donovan? That's a local lawyer for y'all. She's been suspended several times. She tried that Mussman up here, the ALJ, contacted her, okay, and told her that she's my attorney now after I fired her, went through federal court without her, did everything I had to do, fend off the marshals, fend off everything. And then I moved to Colorado, and all of a sudden it says that I opened a case up again. And now she's my attorney and she's sending me paperwork. She sends paperwork to the judge asking to collect money from my disability case. Let me ask you, how in the world does Ann Donovan know about my disability case if she's not an attorney? So I fired her. You see the video of where I fired her? If you look at the paperwork on my ALJ case, besides I could just point out so many errors, it's not even funny. But the Mussman side here, she turned in a petition for pay, and it describes the moment in which I fired her, or that we talked on the phone or something, and it describes it in my prior attorney's name. So my prior attorney, and God, for the life of me, I can't even think of his name right now. My prior attorney, and I can look at the paper right next to me and read his name. He sold me to his legal assistant, okay, Ann Donovan. That's the picture I got, okay? And for some reason, if you noticed, I was approved for disability from day one, okay? I should have never fought for this. I want a listing. That means you got 30 days and I'm approved. I fought for more than 5 years, okay? I fought for more than 5 years just to get the marshals to my house, apparently. And had the marshals not come to my house and acted like asses, then this case wouldn't even been handled. Y'all have still been trying to screw me over on my disability. Now let's get to something real serious, man. Listen, I'm no liar. I am no liar. Okay? Check me out. I'm a jerk. I'm a pain in the ass, but this ain't my creation. This is literally y'all's creation, and I can prove it. Hold on, my boy's in jail. Listen, my boy's in jail for retaliation.
It's not me. I don't have anything to do with your claim.
Well, listen, you got to understand this, dude. If the head of Walmart comes out and someone says, your company did this, your company did this, and really, this is y'all's company. I don't even like talking to you in Fayetteville because I already know I've already dealt with the Fayetteville FBI. Whenever U.S. Marshals, you've seen the video, they told me I'm no longer allowed in a federal court. Is that a violation of my civil rights?
No.
It's not. So I'm not allowed in federal court. So how do I complain about them saying that I'm not allowed in federal court?
Michael, that isn't what you were told. I reviewed the file.
What was I told? What was I told?
What they said is you can come to the courthouse, but they were going to require that someone be with you. They never said you couldn't come.
Did they say I couldn't talk about fraud? Did they say I couldn't talk about fraud?
They said you can come, you can go to any office in that courthouse, but you've got to have someone with you.
Did they say I could not talk about fraud?
I don't know what they said you could or couldn't talk about.
So you said that you clearly heard them in the tape say that I could come in the courthouse anytime I wanted to, and it really doesn't matter if I have somebody with me.
Does it matter? Yes, it matters.
Why? Why does it matter?
Michael, when I go to the courthouse and I go upstairs, there are places I've got to go that I've got to be escorted to do.
Wait a second. When you say escorted to, he told me, and I will quote, you are not allowed to insinuate anything. So what does he mean by that? And he said I'm not allowed to talk about fraud or child abuse. And he told me that I should have my wife go up there. I mean, listen, I'll tell you what, it's not a big deal. I feel like these people threaten me. My son is sitting in jail. They clearly came to my house and terrorized me. Okay, listen, do you have a file? Do you have a file on this?
I am reading the email that you sent about your
Listen,
son.
listen. Okay, so let me ask you about this.
You can't say that stuff in an email.
Say what?
You can't,
Quote me the thing that's bad.
you can't say, no joke, I'm for real, release my son, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that.
What was I going to do? What was I going to do?
This is what you say. You say, no joke, I'm for real. Put it this way. If my son is guilty of terrorist threatening, then your marshals are guilty 3 times over.
Yeah.
My son never communicated with his victim. I expect my son out of jail tomorrow, or your marshals in that same jail.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
I think that your marshals committed terroristic threatening on my front porch.
And then you say, well, I will do your job and try to put them there myself.
Yeah, I guess I'm calling to report terroristic threatening because
No. You're saying you're going to do something.
yeah, I'm gonna do their job. Someone should be telling the Benton County Sheriff Department that people have committed terroristic threatening on my front porch.
Okay, but Michael, the Marshal Service did not put your son in jail. They don't have anything to do with it.
Let me ask you. So whenever I say that he's in jail illegally and that there's no victim that had contact with him, okay, do you understand? Do you understand? Do you understand the concept behind the legal argument that there has to be communication between a victim and the terroristic threat?
I'm a lawyer. I do understand that.
Okay, so whenever I say, when I say there's paperwork,
Have you seen the text messages your son sent? Have you read them?
okay, yeah, actually I have copies of them. Who did he send them to?
He sent them to a state probation officer.
No, he did not.
Nothing to do with the
He did
Marshal
not
Service.
send it. He did not send it to a state probation officer. He sent it to his girlfriend.
He sent them to a girlfriend.
Okay, so
And he threatened to harm a state law enforcement
what harm?
officer.
What harm did he say he was going to do?
Mike, he threatened to disfigure her.
Okay, what did he say? His exact words. What was the mode of harm that he was going to use?
And Mike, did you know he was interviewed after he was arrested and he admitted saying that? And he admitted the harm that he intended to cause? Do you know that?
Do you know that he was taken into custody and said that I abused him and that they took my daughter and they abandoned her in the house that they said that he couldn't go home to because it was too dangerous to go home to? And do you know that whenever I reported that, they told me they were going to stick more crimes on me? Now, let me ask you, how many times have I been investigated for child abuse? I'll tell you what, don't worry about this. If y'all got something to arrest me on, if I threaten some cops, y'all go ahead and arrest me. But I'm going to pursue terroristic threatening charges against the marshals. I'm going to pursue terroristic charges. Well, listen.
I'm not looking to arrest you. What I do need you to do is to stop threatening to do something to the Marshal Service over an arrest of your son. They had nothing to do with.
Listen.
It's a state matter.
Have you listen, okay, apparently you're just arguing y'all's case in the form of no evidence, just hey, there's nothing to do with it. We're not going to investigate anything. Are you telling me that someone who's sitting in jail, what form of communication did he communicate that with? Or was it her mom that took that communication and handed it to that lady and said that it was a threat? Was it Michael that said it was a threat?
That is exactly what happened.
So a third party communicated the threat, correct?
A third party delivered the text messages, Mike.
Well, listen, it was never communicated to the victim until that third party got involved, and the third party got involved in the absence and without the permission of the person y'all are saying committed the crime. That's a great argument, ain't it?
Under any law, federal law, state law, the victim doesn't even have to read it. The fact that it's communicated is the violation.
It wasn't communicated with the intention to cause any concern on her behalf, and that is the basis for terroristic threat. In fact, if you look up case law, and I could give you the names in a little bit because I got it right here in a stack. If you look up case law in Arkansas, you'll see where a judge actually scolds the local prosecuting attorney for getting involved in teenage breakup, uh, what is it, drama, teenage breakup drama, because a kid wrote a rap about mutilating his ex-girlfriend. Now, his friend came over to his house and looked in the book, in his spiral notebook, and said, this is threatening. He pulled it out and handed it to that girl. That caused concern, but it was never pursued. It was pursued, but it was overturned on appeal in the state higher levels because he never intended to communicate that threat to what y'all call the victim. Michael never intended to communicate those words to what y'all call the victim. And I don't care what you convince some screwed up kid to say. You do know that they had him in there with no clothes on for 3 months, pumping them full of medicine and not letting them have any real contact with anybody that can help them. Right? Did you hear the messages from in there? Did you hear the recorded messages from those phone calls? Why did they plead it down to a harassing communications? That's not even the same. I mean, that's not even the same type of charge, really. I mean, how is it he did not communicate? Can you tell me that he communicated directly with that lady?
Mike, he doesn't have to.
No. Did he? No, don't tell me if he has to. Just answer the question. Did he intend?
Mike,
did he intend to communicate with that lady?
I'll argue it with you, and he doesn't have to under the law.
So you're telling me under the law that it does not matter whether he intended to communicate anything to the person y'all call the victim?
What I'm telling you is his intent is to send the communication, and that the communication has to be threatening.
So his intent was what intent? What mode did he intend to send that communication?
Mike, he sent it by text message.
To who? To who? To who?
To his girlfriend.
Okay, did she say that she was concerned about what he said?
The probation officer said she was concerned.
The probation officer wasn't involved at this point. In the conversation, and this is important, did he cause concern with the other party he was conversating with? The only other party in the conversation, did she so concerned, or did she say, you don't mean that?
Mike, you're missing the point.
No, I know I'm missing the point. I'm missing the point is y'all are going to do this anyway, and I'm going to put this out anyway. Apparently, we are come to an impasse where y'all's argument is that it doesn't matter. We're not looking into anything. And my argument is that I clearly am citing some case law that exists. And if you really want to get into this, call me a real liar. I mean, I must be saying some terrible things because I never said anything about shooting a judge. And somehow there were marshals on my front porch that told me I wanted to shoot a judge like at least 10 times. Now, why do I have to suffer that? Why do I have to suffer marshals on my front porch telling me I want to shoot a judge when I never said that?
Okay. Listen, your own email says that the marshals had put in your mind an idea of wanting to shoot a judge.
I just explained that. They sat at my house for almost an hour telling me that that's what I wanted to do and that's what I said when that's not the case. Do you have video of that courtroom where I was standing in there?
Mike, this is the email you sent last week.
Okay.
Just so you know, your marshals tried to brainwash me into killing federal judges. That's
I guess.
What happens when you force that kind of a thought into someone's mind. Now it's all I think about.
It is.
The marshals plan to use me to kill a judge.
Yeah, and I wonder why y'all let these people to get away. So listen, you tell me, who's the one that first said that I wanted to shoot a judge?
You did.
Where?
You said
Where?
someone put that in your mind.
Okay. So you never heard the marshals say on my front porch that someone said I wanted to shoot a federal judge. Someone said that I said I wanted to go shoot the courtroom or shoot a federal judge or something like that. It's hard to say because they changed their story.
Yes, the marshal said on the video.
So who told them that? Who told them that? This is very important. I need to know who's the first person that concept came out of their mouth.
I
Because there is no record of this ever happening in the record, is it? It's covered up, ain't it? You
I
show
don't
me
think
the
anything's
investigation.
covered up.
Did the FBI come to my house?
Yes, they did.
So where's the FBI records for that? Can I get a copy of the investigation records for that so I know what happened?
Mike, there was no recording made of their discussion with you
Why not?
because we don't record interviews when we do them.
Well, I recorded it.
Okay, well then you've got a copy of the conversation.
So let me ask you this. There's no report made for that?
We do not record the conversation.
No, 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 no.
You got it
No,
recorded.
no. I'm asking for a report number. I'm asking for a report number so I can know who's involved in this. I need to know who's all involved.
They made contact with you at your house.
What judges were involved and how were they involved?
I have no idea.
There were judges taken off of my case for judicial misconduct. What was that for?
I have no idea, Mike.
Shouldn't you know that? How come that information isn't in my complete certified administrative record?
Listen, you and I can argue all day.
That's not an argument, man. You show me where these papers are. They're hidden.
We can argue all day over the way we both interpret the law and over the things that were done to you that really frustrate you. The purpose of my call is to tell you that you got to be careful about what you send in by way of email and phone call, because when you get people spun up and concerned, okay, then things get really uncomfortable. People call you and they're like, hey, are you really going to do this?
So I just got to keep suffering. Listen.
Threatening to arrest marshals if your son doesn't get out of jail, you get people pretty concerned.
So I said that I was going to arrest marshals?
It said, I expect my son out of jail tomorrow, or your marshal's in that sand jail, or I will do your job and try to put them there myself.
Yeah, okay. So how does someone go about, let me ask you this, how does someone go about getting U.S. Marshals put in jail? Do they talk to the FBI?
I have no idea. That's why I'm calling.
Do they talk to the FBI?
Yes, they did talk to us.
No, you don't. You're playing games now, buddy. Listen, would I, if I was concerned and I wanted to get U.S. Marshals locked up in a county jail, would I talk to the FBI? Would I talk to the local law enforcement? Who all would I talk to?
I don't know who you'd go talk to. I guess that's up to you.
Look, okay, that's up to me. And I didn't threaten anybody. I didn't threaten to arrest anybody, did I? You twist your words. You twist words, don't you?
No, I'm not.
So did I say I was going to arrest anybody? Did I say I was going to arrest anybody?
You did.
Well, okay, show me the word arrest. I said I was going to see him in jail. I tell you what, if someone breaks in my house, I'll see him in jail because I'll call the cops on him. Does that sound like a legitimate thing? How did you get my number? Is it because I called the cops?
Mike, I got your number because when you talked to our agents at your house in 2013, they got your number from you.
Okay, so that piece of paper that has my number, what else does it say on it?
Oh, it's got all kinds of information.
So does it have the information? Does it have the information of who originally said that I said something terrible in the court that ended up with the marshals at my house?
No, it doesn't have any information about any original person.
Does it have any information about anything other than me?
Let's see. No, it basically.
So I'm here all by myself, huh?
Hey, you asked me a question. I'm trying to answer.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry.
Okay, so it basically notes that you were very frustrated with the way your Social Security disability claim was progressing. It notes that your wife said that you are not a threat to anyone. She doesn't believe you intend to hurt anyone. Let's see. And that's about it.
So let me ask you this. I reported fraud to the marshals. I reported fraud in my motion for summary judgment.
Okay.
I had clear evidence in it. I reported it again to William Mussman, the ALJ, here in Colorado after I won my case, and he tried. Actually, he asked for 1,000 photos of my naked body to be personally delivered to him after the judge in Fayetteville said that I won my case. Now, why would an ALJ want to see naked pictures of me after I won my case for
I don't know. That's pretty bizarre.
So why don't you investigate that? Because I reported fraud to him too, and he kicked me out of his office. And whenever I know he's supposed to run it up to the inspector general. So how about we investigate that? Since you can't investigate anything else, that's clearly I'm reporting fraud, just like I did before. Can y'all investigate fraud? It happened in your county. In fact, I got a doctor who's operating within Social Security committing fraud. It caused my case to be delayed more than 5 years. Any listing that's delayed more than 5 years, something happened, right? Someone lied to that federal judge and said that I didn't have a listing when I did. So where did that lie originate, and why did it get into the federal courts? And why did, after I had to have the marshals at my house and the federal judge rendered all of my arguments mute, that it came up again as evidence that same fraud was regurgitated in another state? That's across state lines, which fraud was pushed across state lines and tried to re-enter it into my case. I know why, because he wanted me to enter in more evidence so that I tampered with the case and he could go back to the federal court and say, see, here's evidence you didn't get to see. But that's evidence y'all covered up. You see, that's because y'all covered it up because it wasn't fraud. So I'm reporting fraud. Can we investigate fraud?
The FBI doesn't even investigate Social Security fraud, and I didn't cover up any evidence. I didn't do anything.
You listen, you keep saying I.
didn't do anything.
So give me the name. Give me the name of the person. Like, listen, how in the world does someone get fraud reported? So should I report it to the ALJ?
Okay.
When an ALJ commits, listen, did the ALJ commit fraud whenever he called an attorney from out of state and tried to pay her and bring her in? What about the attorney in your county and in your, not your county, but in Benton County, Ann Donovan, who committed fraud and turned in a piece of paper in a case which shouldn't have been going on here in ALJ Mussman's office, and she asked for pay, and she did it in the name of Hardy Croxton. That's the attorney's name. There's all of her paperwork. She's never mentioned, and there's a clear video of where I fired her. She was clearly my attorney. Don't worry, I got lots of recordings of me and her. Okay? So how come we don't investigate her committing fraud across state lines? Financial fraud, she tried to commit fraud. I can't even get you to investigate an attorney that's ripping off disabled people.
Mike, do you know how many people call every FBI office across the country every day and report that a fraud has been done to them and that they've lost money? It's too many people.
So we're going to ignore me. That's your excuse. So this case doesn't matter, right? That's what it is. I just a victim.
That's not at all what I'm saying. Listen, you and I have never even spoken until today. So when you use terms like you and
I've already explained that to you. You're smart enough to know I already explained that to you. Whenever I say you, it's because I'm not thinking about you as an individual, because I really don't know you. You sound like a pleasant individual. I'll promise you, every FBI agent that I talk to sounds like a really pleasant individual. I like y'all's canter, okay? Whenever I call the marshal's office, they're like, why didn't you just shut up then, buddy, like they told you, and hang up on you, okay? So don't think that this is about you personally. I don't know you. You know that. You're smart enough to know that. Don't play this deflection game. When I say you, I mean you wear a badge and you're talking to me being paid and you represent those people. Now you tell me, where do I get the information? Where do I get the information? Listen, where do I get the information? Not for the Social Security claim, but I want all of the investigative records that the marshals and the FBI have in relationship to the marshals coming to my house. How do I get that information, or does it even exist?
I will tell you how you get that.
Okay.
What you do for us, I can't speak for the Marshal Service, but there is a federal method that allows you to request information about you that's kept in a federal records system, and you have to file what's called a
No,
freedom
no, no,
of
no, 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 no.
information.
Not about me. Not about me. I want to know about this case. Like, see, if I said I lost my bicycle, got stolen, they'd open up a case and they'd take the information about the bicycle and they'd take people's statements and all that. Now, where's the case number for this incident?
Like, we don't have a case number.
How
We
come?
don't have an investigation targeting you with anything.
So why did marshals show up at my house saying that I said I was gonna come back to the courthouse and shoot it up?
Agents show up at your house?
Huh?
You mean why did FBI agents show up at your house? I can't tell you why marshals did. I don't work for the marshals.
So why did the FBI agents show up at my house?
You asked me a question. I'm trying to
Okay,
answer.
okay, yeah.
Okay. So if you want to know why FBI agents came to your house, they came to your house because the court, the United States District Court, contacted us concerned because they thought you might try to hurt someone in the courthouse or a judge, and they asked us to go and talk to you. We did. We didn't open a case. We didn't try to get an arrest warrant for you. We didn't try to get you in trouble. We just wanted to figure out whether you were a guy who was going to hurt somebody or whether you were a guy who was frustrated and said some things that might have been misunderstood.
Hey, I understand that. Hey, I understand that. That is a perfect explanation. Now, did y'all have any knowledge that the U.S. Marshals come and told me some things that y'all had to backtrack on?
I don't think we knew that. No.
Y'all didn't. Your FBI agents didn't backtrack on any of the statements that the U.S. Marshals made.
I think, in fairness, backtracking is probably.
I was trying to be nice. I was trying to be nice.
What I'll say is that when they came and talked to you, they obviously, when they left, felt like you weren't a great threat. Because if they felt like you were a threat and that you really intended to hurt somebody at that time, they would have arrested you, and they didn't leave and do that.
Okay.
They basically came back and said, "We're done with this." And if they thought you were really a threat and that you were going to hurt somebody at that time, they wouldn't have just left. They would have gone and gotten a warrant and come back and arrested you.
Well, I understand that. Listen. I understand that. So, whenever everything the marshals told me stands, correct? Everything that those marshals say is 100% legit. You're telling me you've reviewed the tape. You're an official law enforcement officer for the United States government, and that you see no violations of my civil rights on that tape by those U.S. Marshals.
That is not what I'm saying.
Okay, no.
It would be unfair for me to say that.
So let me ask you this: do you, as a law enforcement agent who's a professional, you're a lawyer till you said it, do you see anything in there where those U.S. Marshals overstepped their boundaries and violated my civil rights?
To be fair, Mike, I've not watched every moment of the tape.
Well, then when I say that, you need listen. So what you're doing is you're actually calling me ignorant of the facts, right?
No. What I'm saying is this, okay? I've watched portions of the tape, and in the portions I've watched, I don't think you would have a federal criminal civil rights claim.
So let me ask you, why haven't you watched the entire tape?
Because I don't need to watch the entire tape.
Well, what if I told you that they threatened me on that tape?
You asked me a question. Let me answer you.
Okay.
You said, why haven't you watched the entire tape? The reason I haven't watched the entire tape is because, from my perspective, that matter from 2 years ago is over. Okay? It's done.
Okay. Let me argue against what you just said right there. When you said that matter is done. Well, I say that would have been a sufficient argument, although too late, whenever the judge in the Fayetteville Federal Court made his decision. But when the ALJ made the decision to try and reopen the case without any request, okay, whenever he made claims that I requested it, when he made claims that I wasn't in a room that I was in, when he kicked me out of a federal courtroom for trying to report the same fraud that in the tape that I provided on YouTube, which I don't care whether you've seen it or not, that's your problem. They said that I'm not allowed to report fraud or that they would arrest me, which I assume if you report fraud, there's no crime committed. It's just reporting fraud, which is like, I guess, a good thing. And so whenever U.S. Marshals say that they're going to arrest me for reporting fraud, that's some form of retaliation because that's not a form of justice to arrest somebody for reporting fraud. So it's clearly retaliation. And then this situation comes up, okay? This situation comes up here in Colorado. I'd say that's a clear extension. Not 2 years ago. It's still happening right now, sir. And that's why I say you should investigate. But I guess that's not a good enough argument for you, right?
So when you say it came up in Colorado, did you go into the courthouse in Colorado and try to report it?
What do you mean try and report it? Absolutely. Absolutely. I was in the absolute courthouse who was ready to deal with it, required to deal with it, and it came back up and I reported it. And he dismissed the case and told me I wasn't able to record in there. And in between that, I'd reported it several times. In fact, you see me reporting it to what's basically the court clerk for the ALJ's office. That's a federal courthouse. If you don't believe me, just watch them escort me out. So they anyways, I reported it right there. That's pretty clear, and I'd say that's well within reason to say that, man, why am I back in court being asked to put in evidence that wasn't required for the listing? Okay, and it's naked pictures of myself. That dude, that Mussman, is some kind of pornographer. Okay, now you tell me why he wanted pictures of me. Okay, now you tell me why any judge would ever tell someone to leave a courtroom while they're reporting fraud. That's a question. Can you tell me why any judge would tell someone?
No, I don't have any
Did
idea
you see that?
why.
Did you see that on the tape? I mean, did you not look at the YouTube videos? I mean, I would assume that if I am as dangerous as you say I am, if you're as concerned about my personality as you say I am, I think you'd watch every second of those. Now, if you're just concerned in covering up stuff, you would only watch the portions you wanted to argue.
Mike, if I was concerned about covering up stuff, I wouldn't be calling.
You shouldn't be, because I am a bad. You know this is going to be on YouTube.
I wouldn't be spending 40 minutes on the phone.
Hey, you know it's going to be on YouTube. So don't be upset whenever you find out that this is out there too. And because the reason I say that is because, that's how it is. I mean, this is how I feel about it. And if you feel differently, then you should be able to stand up and say, you know what? When he told me there was fraud, when he told me there was child abuse covering up and stuff like that, I stood up and did nothing. That's you.
Okay. The reason I called you is to tell you
not to say anything about this.
You can't send threats.
They weren't threats. Listen. If they were threats, y'all would have arrested me. Right? I mean, those aren't threats. You know I didn't intend to do any harm other than the legal process to these people. And anybody wants to argue that? I'll tell you what, though. That illegal arrest, let me ask you this straight up. If I believe I'm about to be the victim of an illegal arrest, and I think that illegal arrest will end in me leaving the courtroom on my back, like I was informed, do I have the right to use lethal force to defend myself against an unlawful arrest? I mean, I know I can't, if I use lethal force to defend myself against an unlawful arrest, that is actually going to be determined in court. So that's a decision I have to make, and I understand this completely. But let me ask you, in your opinion, if someone approaches me to arrest me for what I'm doing now, clearly my intention is to report fraud. Clearly my intention is to insinuate that these people told me that they were going to arrest me illegally if I didn't do it. When I say arrest me illegally, I mean there's no basis for an arrest for reporting fraud, is there? So that's clear. You better go watch that tape, and you better go and get my boy out of that damn jailhouse, because this is getting stinky. It's getting bad. And it just sounds terrible that I'm arguing this side of the law to you. You're a federal agent, and I'm saying, hey, investigate fraud. And you're saying, well, you know what, those marshals, we don't even know what they did. I didn't even watch that tape. That's your answer to me saying, hey, they said there's fraud in my case, and there's marshals on my front porch saying that you can't talk about fraud no more. That seems like a direct intimidation to cover up fraud. Now you tell me, if I have video of the marshals on my front porch intimidating me with arrest for reporting fraud or insinuating anything against them, is that cause to be concerned?
I don't understand your question.
You don't understand. So if I have video of U.S. Marshals on my front porch and they're telling me that if I report fraud that they would arrest me, is that a violation of my civil rights? Is that a threat to take away my civil liberties to just because I was exercising my right to report fraud? In fact, I'd say my duty as an American to report fraud. That's just pandering a little bit there, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? Listen.
Hey, tell me, Mike, where are you living right now?
Oh, wow, that's gonna make me feel really good, dude. That's gonna make me feel really good. I know, I'm right here. I'm not hiding from nobody. I'm living in Colorado, dude. I'm living in Colorado Springs. Okay, listen.
You got an address for me?
Colorado Springs. I do not know my address because I just had to move. I am pretty much homeless most of the time because of all of this. Listen, here's the deal. You got enough information to at least show me that you mean well. Okay? I don't believe y'all mean well. I really don't believe. When I say y'all, I don't mean you personally. You go home and take care of your kids, you're a good guy. But when you show up for work, you seem to do this thing like these Ferguson cops do, like these other people do. You argue that law enforcement is absolutely infallible. And if I talk about it, it's a threat. The only threat of talking about something is the threat that y'all said y'all would arrest me. And I say y'all, you're protecting U.S. Marshals that said they'd arrest me for reporting fraud. And I do believe that's a direct responsibility of the FBI to stop intimidation in federal courts by the opposite side. And let me tell you what, U.S. Marshals are the law enforcement for federal people, not for me. Okay? They don't enforce the law for me. They are there to protect other people besides me. Okay? I'm not there to be protected. Okay? So whenever U.S. Marshals come to my house and tell me I'm not allowed to talk about fraud and my fraud accusations include a federal judge, I'd say that's intimidation to cover up fraud, wouldn't you? I mean, is there any reason for a U.S. Marshal to get involved in a case? And let me ask you this. The U.S. Marshals clearly knew about my disease. What about all the HIPAA violations? How come U.S. Marshals were given my medical records? How come I was even in federal court to begin with? Can you tell me why I was in that federal court if I had a listing? Can you look at that and say, look, this guy was automatically approved. How in the world did he get into federal court?
Listen, I do not intend to continue arguing with you about the Marshal Service or your claims of fraud. The purpose of my call was only to make sure that you're not going to come down here and try to do something that's going to hurt somebody.
I'm coming down there. I'm coming down there to get on tape. Listen, I'm coming down there to get on tape me reporting terroristic threatening by, I guess they're not U.S. Marshals. I guess they were fake marshals because you don't even have proof that there were U.S. Marshals ever on my front porch. Do you have a proof that U.S. Marshals were legitimately on my front porch? Where's the records that say, here's something to take to my, isn't it called a writ or something like that, that you have to have a piece of paper before you show up at somebody's house accusing them of something?
No,
No, they just show up anytime and accuse people. Did you see the officer? Like, did you see the officer enter my house without a warrant?
No,
Several times.
I was not there. I did not see anything other than what's on the
It's
videotape.
on the video. It's on the video. I got witnesses. I'm telling you, they illegally entered my house under the threat of not wanting to have to shoot us.
Listen, I think you and I probably well understand each other's
Oh no,
position.
I understood you. You didn't even have to call, buddy. I know y'all don't want me talking about this. Listen, listen, understand this.
I'm not going to talk about
I'm
it
not
anymore,
violent.
okay?
I'm not violent. There's no violence ever going to happen out of me, but I will promise you, I am going to try and get terroristic threatening charges put against everybody that I feel committed terroristic threatening in more severe form than my son. Let me tell you what, y'all go ahead and do to my son what y'all want. That's just petty, dude.
I'm
That's
not
just
doing
petty, dude.
anything. Mike, I don't even
Don't
know
even
your
look into
son.
it. Don't even look
I
into
have
it.
no idea who he is. I have nothing to do with his
Oh,
children.
listen,
I am in jail. I don't work for Benton County.
so
I
if
don't
he
work for
said that
Central
you threatened
Arkansas.
him, if he said that you threatened to cut his arms and legs off, then that ought to be good enough, right? Throw your ass in jail. You never talked to him, right? She never talked to him. She never spoke to him. He never wanted to talk to her. He didn't like her, apparently, from what I understood. And you're allowing this crime to happen. You're allowing a young man to sit in a jail innocent.
That's exactly what his defense ought to be when he goes to court.
Listen,
And if he's right, then maybe he'll get off.
so let me ask you this. Yeah, okay, I guess you hung up on me. Bye, dude. That was it? That it? You gone? I don't know if you're gone yet. Hey, I guess that was your call coming through that hung up on him. Oh well. No, he wasn't doing anything anyway. He only called to say that what I said might have been a threat and I have to stop doing it. I said, "You're gonna arrest me?" He goes, "No." I said, "Then shut up. You know, what are you doing? Why are you calling? What's the point? What's the point to call and tell me something I already know? That y'all don't care?" Anyways, let me get off the phone. I got a video going. I'm gonna say bye to the people. Y'all seen what happened.